Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another DigiEduHack coaching call, a series where we go through 14 different coaching calls from start to finish to help all of our DigiEduHack local hosts preparing for and hosting your own DigiEduHack local hackathon this November. My name is Madeline, and if you've missed my first videos, there have been three already. This is the fourth. You can go back and watch those as well. All our videos are and will be saved in the same YouTube playlist that we're on right now. If you haven't seen our previous videos, you can watch those first or start with this one as well. If you haven't registered as a host yet, you can still do so even when these coaching calls are ongoing. So don't be shy, register and become a part of our team. If you have any questions during this video, you can always ask them in the chat conversation down below, or you can reach out to us at contact@digieduhack.com if you have questions or want to book a one-on-one call with us to discuss further. All our questions here will be answered in the chat as we go. Where can you find the materials after? We go through a lot of support resources and other materials in our calls. And if you want to review them later or get access to them, they will be linked here in the description as well, or you can find the resources mentioned in our DigiEduHack calls on the website as well. In addition, you can find the agenda of all our coaching calls, or all 14 of them that are going on over a time of 12 weeks. So if there's something specific you're uncertain about, you can always check and also just join those calls. Without further ado, let's jump in coaching call number 4. Today we will discuss sponsorships, best practices, where can you find sponsors, how do you reach out to them, and how do you actually confirm them. We will go through some tips and tricks on how to recruit sponsors, the basics. We will also show you a sponsor recruitment letter that we provide to you as a resource. We will go through what can be sponsored. So what can you actually ask sponsorship for? How to secure the partners that you're discussing with and actually make them your sponsors. When they are confirmed and settled down, how do you engage them throughout the hackathon process? And finally, how can you apply for grants and other funding for your event? To start with, as we know, an event, a hackathon or any other event needs sponsoring, needs to be funded somehow, which is why we're going to help you to find these sponsors. We got a timeline here on where you can start and how you can go forward with securing some partners and sponsors. First, we'll go through these in detail as well. First, make sure that you identify potential partners. You can leverage your connections and both personal, professional connections before you then develop a proposal that is sent out. Make sure to tailor this, both your proposal and your pitch that you give to these potential sponsors, and schedule meetings to discuss further, negotiate, and so on. In these meetings, or even in your proposals before, make sure to showcase past success, if not in hackathons, similar events. Make sure to show the partners and sponsors why this is a good promotional opportunity for them. And after you've scored them and actually confirmed them, make sure to give them regular updates and keep them updated on what's going on your end and how they can support you and so on. Throughout the event, pre-event, hackathon event, post-event communication, show gratitude to your sponsors, and finally, make sure to build relationships so that maybe they can sponsor any events in the future. In a nutshell, let's go into this on a more detailed level. To identify potential sponsors, you can create a link, a table, a list or a table, or however you want to proceed with that, to find sponsors and organizations that align with your hackathon's theme. As we know, we can approach this hackathon from many different angles. You can consider businesses, organizations, maybe individuals that have an interest in your theme, in hackathons overall, in innovation, however far you want to go. So make sure that the people you reach out to have some sort of connection to hackathons or your hackathon in specific. Leverage your connections. If it's not professional networks, someone you've worked with before, someone who's worked with your current partners, you can use your personal networks. Maybe you know someone in the field to identify potential sponsors. It can be someone already in your network or abroad from through your own network that you could reach out to. Yes. When you found your list, you have a list of several, and here again, we know that many organizations, they can't budget for everything. They can't sponsor everything. So make sure that your list is as thorough as possible and comprehensive, so that you're not relying on just a few companies that you've identified. To reach out to these, you need to create a professional, comprehensive sponsorship proposal, and it can outline the event details overall. So the project overview of DigiEduHack, of your hackathon challenge, what are the objectives that you're looking for, what are the outcomes that you are hoping to receive and to reach, who is your target audience, both in terms of participants, in terms of partners, what are the benefits for the sponsor, anything that you can think of in addition to this. Here it's also good to include different sponsorship packages. Maybe they want to just be a part of the hackathon as a monetary sponsor. They give you some sponsorship, some sort of sum, and after that they're not involved at all. Maybe they want to have some sort of impact on your challenge, on the prizes, on where the teams are going to be working, whatever it might be. So if you already know that you can offer some different benefits in different sponsorship packages, include that in your deck. When you're reaching out, even though, as said, we recommend that you reach out to several different partners and stakeholders, customize your pitch for each of these potential sponsors as much as you can. Make sure to demonstrate how this event aligns with their brand, with their goals and their interests, how your hackathon's goals and interests are the same in some way, find a connection there. And you can also show how their support helps increase the hackathon brand awareness, their own brand awareness, that they're taking part of this hackathon. They will get access to potential talent, maybe potential new ideas or solutions that they can use, however, get inspired from, show that they're committed into bringing innovation and better education in the future. After you've sent out your first reach out and done your first reach out, arrange meetings with these potential sponsors as well as you can. It can be a video call or just a phone call, however busy they are and what they have the possibility to do. And you can discuss the event further, answer any questions that they might have, maybe the proposal that you first sent out was a bit more high level, you can go more into detail on some things that you want to highlight again. They might want to negotiate a bit on the sponsorship packages or terms. So be prepared to have a thorough discussion with these partners in order to find a solution or a package that suits you both. If you have previously organized hackathons, make sure to highlight this, share testimonials, you can share case studies or maybe some solutions that were born from your hackathon that we can still see in some form today. Maybe you have some statistics that can show that the value was there for previous sponsors, anything of that sort. If you haven't organized hackathons, this can be any other similar events. Just find a connection between some event that you could showcase in order to prove that your hackathon is worth sponsoring. Also remember to outline the promotional opportunities that are available to sponsors. This can be a logo placement on any visuals that you are creating. It can be mentions in your social media channels when promoting the event. It can be speaking opportunities. The partners might, or the sponsors might get a keynote speech at any of your pre-hackathon events, if you have any, or at the hackathon opening. They can give out an award at the end, however you want to show this. It can be also an opportunity just to join and see what the participants are doing, network and engage with them. Anything that you can think of here, but highlight this as much as you can. Once you have secured a sponsorship, doing all of the previous steps, keep that sponsor informed about where the event is going, not only in terms of what you are doing to take the event further, but how many participants have registered, what kind of media coverage have you done, what is the visibility for the event thus far, anything else that feels relevant to update the partner on, maybe how they can keep supporting you. You can help them and assist them on what they could do if they want to be involved in the project and so on. But open communication is important, and not only for the event itself, but also with building a relationship with that sponsor for further and future collaborations. Remember to thank your sponsors, not only in the meetings that you have with them or in emails that you send to them, but publicly. So during the event, remember to acknowledge their contribution, thank them, post-event communications. If you're doing social media posts about the event, whatever the case may be, remember to always thank them and show your gratitude to everyone. After the hackathon, you might want to provide a report. It might even be required from the sponsor, where you show the success of the event and show that their sponsorship actually had an impact and that they made whatever amazing solutions that came possible. As said, always try to make sure that your sponsor may be a good connection for the future as well. So think further, build a relationship with your sponsors as much as you can. Stay in touch, update them on future events that are similar to this, explore opportunities where you can for other collaborations. All right. How to use a recruitment letter or how to create one, the first step after you have your sponsors in a list, potential sponsors. We have created a sample letter that you can use. You can, of course, also create your own if you've used any to get sponsors for previous events. If you want to take part of our sample letter for sponsors, you can do so on Discord. As I've said in previous calls, all registered hosts get a Discord link where we update you on the DigiEduHack events and ongoing process things in the hackathon process overall, but also we add a lot of resources on Discord. I will show you quickly a screenshot here. You need to join the Discord yourself through your DigiEduHack profile, as we discussed in the previous call. So if you've missed that, you can check the instructions from there. You need to go to join your event and click I am a host in order to see the resources that are meant for hosts. After you've done this, you can go to the resources forum, and here, as you can see highlighted, you can find the sponsor recruitment sample letter. You can see there that you can find sponsor recruitment decks, etc., that we will go through in this call as well. Yes, you can either use that or create your own. Note that the sample letter template that you can find there is already branded to fit the DigiEduHack project. You can add your own logos or any own content, of course, but this way it's an easy way for you to send out materials regarding DigiEduHack that are already branded accordingly and approved with all the DigiEduHack logos and branding all together. If you have any questions on this, reach out to us. As said, make sure to personalize each letter as much as possible. I'm going to give you a few examples on this later as well. And always try to schedule a follow-up or other call to action to move the sponsorship process forward. And you can include this in your sample letter already, that you're happy to tell them more and so on. And there we have the screenshot again. Yes, you also get a recruitment slide deck that you can not approve, but include. Long day on our side today. A recruitment slide deck that you can incorporate in your reach out when you reach out to the sponsors first. Again, it's a pretty good template. It gives you an easy overlook of DigiEduHack as a whole and also of your project itself. And I will show you what it looks like, and we can go through that before I continue with this slide. There we go. So here, as said, it's an editable template. So you add your name here and your own details wherever needed. The table of contents here, as you can see, it first gives you an introduction to DigiEduHack as a whole. What is this initiative? Why are we doing these hackathons? So and so on. It also gives you an overlook of the different challenge categories. As said, we have 9 different ones. And after this, you can also explain your focus area and what challenge you are focusing on. As we've gone through together, it gives you the overview of last time DigiEduHack hackathon projects were done between the years of 2019 and 2021, just for your sponsors to know that this has been done before and it was indeed successful. It'll also give you the key project milestones, so the sponsors know what's going to happen and when, what part of the process are we in now, and so on. Also, timetable and activities for you, so the sponsors know what their personal timeline is, not only the timeline that you are doing and following for your project, but for them personally. Here we give you already a few reasons to join, but of course, as said, try to highlight the reasons to join for your specific hackathon. So you for sure have something that you can offer that is not mentioned in this basic reasons to join, so to say. So make sure to add anything that is specific to your hackathon. You know that you can give the sponsors, you know the sponsors can give to your participants, and so on to make it more personal. You can also adjust this slide for any of the sponsors you send this out to. So if a certain sponsor has certain things that are of interest to them that you know of, make sure that that's included for that sponsor and go on a personalized level there. As said, we give you 3 options for sponsor packages. And these, as you can see, you can add benefits, add the sponsorship amounts, add anything else that you want to tailor this. But these are the 3 sponsor packages that you can use when applying for a sponsorship. Here ends this slide deck, but of course that's only the on a higher level. So when you adjust these and edit these to be sent out to your sponsors or potential sponsors, make sure to add slides on your own project journey and your own project story. What is your hackathon about? What is your focus? What is your target audience as of participants? All of the things that we mentioned. So use this as a template and add slides to highlight your own hackathon, of course, as well. And again, you can use this as a base and then decide how much you want to use of that and how much you want to add your own things when you're creating your own deck. Exactly. This also follows the visual identity, so it has the right branding and so on. So don't need to be afraid of using any of the DigiEduHack brands wrong. Make sure that you send this out as an email attachment and you have the sample letter there as the text. So then you have the whole package, and also save a version for yourself to be used later. As said, we mentioned it briefly already. It's good to make this personal. Use storytelling in your outreach. Make sure that the prospects and the sponsors' identity, values, goals, aims somehow connect to your project and your project story. As an example, if your event focuses on sustainability, you want to maybe reach out to a locally sourced vegan restaurant to cater your event because it's physical, then write a picture just in 1-2 sentences about how your values and their values are aligned to make sure that you can score them as your sponsor. What can sponsors give you? So what kind of sponsorship can you apply for? Lots, as you can see on this slide. It can only be financial or material, easy as that. That's a clear form of sponsored help or aid to you. The sponsor gives you a certain amount of money and they get some of the benefits that have been discussed. Here we advise, if you get funding or sponsorship as money, that you use some of that funding to your prize pool that you can then award the participants with, or the winning teams with. And again, as said about thanking your sponsors, if this is the case, remember to thank the sponsors and say that this prize was financed by them and so on, to give them that visibility that they are after. The sponsors can also contribute without actually exchanging money and still give you material and for yourself financially if you wouldn't get that sponsorship. They can offer you a venue that you can host your hackathon in, maybe hotel accommodations for the participants and the team. Maybe it's a discount on any food that you are serving. swag, other giveaways, any technology, whatever the case may be, materials. It can also be different opportunities that you are giving the participants. It can be internships, it can be mentorship packages, it can be different visibilities for the winning teams. Maybe they can come and pitch their grand idea at some kind of event. These kinds of non-material things and benefits. Before sending out and maybe having the follow-up call with your potential sponsors, brainstorm a bit, both internally first, what kind of things can you think of that would be useful for your own participants, and then also keep brainstorming with the sponsors to come up with a solution and a form of sponsoring that suits you both. If it's, let's say, a platform that they get access to your participants, that can also be a form of sponsorship. Make sure that you know this well in advance, that you can make sure that everyone gets access in advance. You know how to use it if you need to help the participants, or is someone from their side joining to help. So whatever the sponsorship is, make sure that you are able to communicate it and let the participants take part of it as good as possible. Also, time is money, as they say, which is also a good term of sponsorship, or form of sponsorship. It can be human resources. Someone from your sponsor partner joins the hackathon to mentor the teams, or again, if mentorship packages is part of the sponsorship, that's a human resource from their side as well. How can they help the teams develop their skills on a personal level? Remember that when you have the verbal yes from a partner, remember to officialize things. So actually securing them even in text as well. So double check with your legal department or any advisors that you have when it comes to financial donations. How is that done on your end? What needs to be taken into consideration? When it comes to prize payments, if that's what the money will be used for, should the prize payments be done by your organization and then you can get that from the partner after, or do they send out the prize payments themselves and you're out of it completely? These kind of details, make sure that you go through them and everyone knows what will happen and who takes care of what. Also put things in writing. So sign a contract, an agreement, and include all the duration of the partnerships. Is it only for this event? Is it for a bigger project and your hackathon is simply one part of that project? If so, include that. What are the roles and responsibilities of each party involved? What is being exchanged? Is it only the money for you and that's it? Do you need to give them a report of how the money has been used? Anything else that you can think of? How do you keep your partners involved and engaged? Again, depending on the sponsorship and the organization, they might not want to be that involved. They might want to be very much involved. So make sure that you find a way to work that works for both of you. What we recommend is that you offer a weekly, bi-weekly, other regular meeting to keep your partners up to date on the latest details of your project. How is it progressing? What's the development since last time? So on. You can also send meeting minutes or any materials that you've used, if you use any update slides, so on. Send that to those who can't join, and that's a way to keep them updated as well. Also, make sure that your partners are actively sharing information about the event, if they are able to, through their communications channels. Maybe it's a large organization that can't share everything on their public social media channels. in that case, recommend that they do so on their internal channels, maybe their internal and external newsletters, any other networks of contacts, anything that could be helpful and spread the message of your hackathon. So make sure to always help them help you. And again, don't forget to show your gratitude. Thank them for their support. Show that this is beneficial for them and so on. You can also apply for different kind of grants or funding if you're not looking for a sponsor in terms of a partner that is then actively involved and so on. These can be that as well, but you can also apply for funding from different foundations and so on that usually hand you a grant and then just expect a report in return that has been used for the right causes. And we're going to go through a bit what these grants can look like, what to take into consideration when applying for a grant, and so on. First, define the budget for your event. Might not be easy, but make sure that you have everything into consideration, your own workload and payment for that, your venue, how many participants are you thinking of, how big of a venue do you need, accommodation, travels, food, anything that you need to take care of and budget for. Include that so you know how much outside funding you're going to need. You also need to define your sector and stakeholders. So are we looking at higher education students? Are we looking at startup owners as your participants? Are we looking at researchers, something else? Is it a local event? And if so, how local? Is it a national event, international event? How far does it spread? Define your idea for the project as well. Not only giving an inspiring sales speech about how innovative your hackathon is, but what is the aim? What is the bigger aim? Is it to support the youth? Is it culture, education, social aspects, anything else, sustainability, as we discussed before? What's the bigger idea behind the project? And define what parts of your project will be funded with this funding. Is it to cover travel costs for the team or for the jury members or for the participants themselves? What will the money be used for? How do you find a grant that you can apply for? You can search for different grant portals based on your idea, so where you know that will be relevant. As I said, foundations might be a good option for you, and you might get an answer and a decision early enough for you to take that into consideration and know that you have that funding. You need to allocate enough time to actually get familiar with the project scope, your own eligibility for different funding so that you know that you can apply for them. Also just researching the different portals and so on to write a good text and make sure that you have everything that you need in your application once you get started with it. So book more time than you think you need, because it will take you a lot of time and it will be worth it in the end that you have a good application. You can also, as I briefly mentioned, include your hackathon into a larger project. Maybe it already is. You have a bigger thing going on and your hackathon or hackathons are part of that. Make sure that you give this or make this visible in your application as well, that the grant would go for an even bigger cause and an event. Yes, no matter what you do here and the results and what you've written down, make sure to save that and maybe get some feedback on it so that you can use that and create a even better application for next year or other events. If you're not familiar with the vocabulary of applying for grants, you can review the 2 coming slides for the types of grants that you can apply for and what they mean, just so that you know what your options are. Yes. All right. That is it for our sponsorship coaching call. And remember to first register as a host if you haven't yet. Remember to start working on your sponsor lists and decks and letters early enough so that it's not overwhelming for you. Remember to ask us for help or feedback or whatever. And also this week, I want to remind you that the first live weekly is going to be organized and hosted this Friday at 10 a.m. CEST time, later CET time. So if you have any questions that you don't want to write down, you don't want to book a separate call with us, join that session in order to be able to meet us in a video call and ask any questions and take part of other hosts' questions. All hosts that are already registered have been sent an invitation to this calendar invite, so make sure to do that so you have access to this call as well. Without further ado, I thank you again for joining me in this coaching call, and I will see you next week again.